just regular folks. You know, we're not doing anything wrong here. No ill intentions. I just want you guys to understand, you know.
And you know what? If you get too close to me with that camera, I'll take it out of your hand and ram it down your throat.
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
nhliberty.org. nhliberty.org.
Toward the end of World War I, there was a battalion of American men which led a famous attack. It was the Battle of the Argonne Forest in 1918, and the battalion came to be known as the Lost Battalion because they ended up surrounded by Germans when they joined a gigantic attack, and they thought that everyone else, that the other units in the attack were on their left and right, when really they were isolated. Of course, the reason they were isolated is because they had been so successful. They were the only unit to advance to their assigned point. Well, you could say that something similar has happened to a more modern-day opponent of tyranny, George Donnelly. Donnelly, you could say, moved his video camera battalion closer to the enemy guns than most of us have. And like the Lost Battalion, he has been surrounded and cut off from his allies.
You got to interfere. Photography is federal property.
You can't take pictures on federal property.
Why
and you
not?
need to, that's the law.
Federal property is being protected. Get your hand off my camera.
For those of you not in the Ron Paul community or the pro-liberty community, a quick summary. Donnelly had been going from courthouse to courthouse in the Mid-Atlantic and filming the activist Julian Heiklin. I hope I'm saying his name right. Heiklin attempts to distribute flyers which inform jurors of their right to follow their conscience when rendering a verdict. He's, of course, recorded many different interesting interactions with marshals and court security officers, but this is the only surviving photograph, apparently, from the most interesting of them all. Shortly after this photo was taken, witnesses say George Donnelly was wrestled to the ground, his camera confiscated by federal authorities, and the fate of the video is uncertain. We don't know whether the authorities will erase it, whether they will keep it forever. Anyhow, Donnelly is a liberty activist who is New Hampshire bound. I think he'll be moving here, or was planning on moving here soon. So despite the Mid-Atlantic location, I've been wanting to cover this. It happened, I think, around May 10th. Donnelly was placed in jail and released 2 days after it happened. And his charge was something like assaulting a federal officer. One of the liberty activists present, there weren't very many, has reported that that is not what happened. But the salient point right now is that Donnelly is being treated like some sort of Burmese political dissident. They have him under house arrest, and his conditions for being able to be under house arrest are pretty extreme. The way they're worded, they could be interpreted to mean that he's not allowed to say a word about what happened. So I'm going to try to do for him the thing that I would want people to do for me. If I were placed into the U.S. gulag, if I were silenced. I've just today downloaded all of his videos that I could find, and all of his stills that I could find. And I'll try in some form or fashion to be the voice that he currently cannot. Nothing else, I can at least provide a little commentary on his videos, on what's happening to him, and what we can learn from it, and in the process maybe draw more attention to him. This is one of those federal abuses where, at least it appears to be, where you don't need anything except for a large number of people to know about it. If you achieve that, you win. Of course, the best thing about this bad situation is that every time anybody talks about it, they're going to have to talk about a juror's right to follow her conscience and ignore a judge's instructions when rendering a verdict. That's the issue that had Donnelly on the scene. The Lost Battalion was eventually rescued, and I think was also victorious. We need to do what we can to make sure George is victorious too. One type of victory can be assured just by making sure that a large number of people hear what happened. You can achieve this yourself just by promoting what happened on the internet, or by writing letters to the editor, or by calling talk shows.
Real freedoms are eaten up a little at a time.
I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but there are some pretty scary things happening in this building, the State House in Concord, New Hampshire.
We've already amended the Constitution dozens of times. Let's throw it away for a master plan.
Fortunately, there is the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. They're fighting back.
But what price freedom?
But they need your help. They offer free training. They offer courses, ways that you can learn how to be most effective in fighting for liberty inside the State House. Visit nhliberty.org to find out when the next class is. If you take it, you'll be a much more effective voice at stopping these folks from taking away your liberty.
Government can't control everything without controlling me.
nhliberty.org